A notification hit my phone like a punch to the gut. 15,000 luxury catering lake. Tahoe authorized 1 minute ago. I stared at the screen, my mind racing to catch up. I was in San Francisco, my wallet was in my purse, and I definitely hadn't ordered 15,000 worth of catering before. I could even call the bank. A text message flashed across the top of my screen. It was my sister Tiffany. I booked your house for my wealth and wellness retreat starting Wednesday. I used your card for the deposit since mine is frozen. Don't be petty, it's an investment. I read it twice, no question, no request, just a demand wrapped in an insult. I called my father, Robert, expecting outrage, expecting him to tell me he'd handle it. Instead, he sighed. I promised her clients. The house is ours, Bella. If you cancel, you humiliate me. Just let her have this one win. And just like that, the betrayal wasn't just financial, it was total. Has a family member ever spent your money without asking and then told you to calm down? Tell me in the comments. I need to know. I'm not the only one dealing with this level of audacity. I didn't scream. I didn't try to reason with a man who had clearly picked his favorite child decades ago. I just pressed the red end call button. The silence that filled my office wasn't peaceful. It was the heavy, suffocating silence of a bridge finally burning down. I looked at my calendar. Cancel everything. I texted my assistant, family emergency. Then I grabbed my keys. The drive to Lake Tahoe usually took 4 hours. I made it in 3. The whole time, the hum of the engine was the only thing keeping me grounded, as the memories of every check I'd ever written played on a loop in my head. My name is Bella. I'm 29 years old. I didn't inherit my money, and I certainly didn't manifest it. I built a tech logistics company from a laptop in a dorm room while my friends were at parties. I traded my 20s for security. I traded sleep for stability, and for years my family treated my bank account like a community chest. I thought about the 20,000 I gave Tiffany for her ethical clothing line. 3 years ago, she spent it on a trip to Bali to find inspiration when I asked for a business plan. Dad called me cold, he said. I cared more about spreadsheets than my sister's soul. They laughed at me then, calling me stingy while spending my money, but they didn't know that every dollar they took was just buying them a front row seat to their own eviction. The house rose out of the darkness like a glass ship anchored in the snow. $3.5 million of steel, stone, and privacy. It was supposed to be my sanctuary. Now it was a battlefield. I didn't go to the master bedroom. I didn't unpack. I went straight to the hidden office behind the pit kitchen, my command center. I sat down, opened my laptop, and brought up the smart home dashboard. The interface glowed with a soft blue light. Master code, delete guest access, revoke perimeter alarms, silent mode. One by one, I severed their access. Watched the status bars turn from green to red. It was clinically satisfying. Then I saw the control for the heated driveway. Outside, the snow was coming down in thick, heavy sheets. The driveway would be an ice rink by morning. I clicked off. If they'd wanted to steal my house, they could walk on the ice to do it. I brewed a pot of black coffee and settled into the leather chair, my eyes fixed on the grid of security cameras. The house was dark, the doors were magnetic, locked, the stage was set. I wasn't the little sister anymore. I was the fortress, and I was ready for war. At exactly 200, the convoy appeared on the monitors. 3 black SUVs rented, judging by the barcode stickers still visible on the windshields. They crunched over the ice. I prepared for them, tires spinning slightly before finding purchase. I leaned forward in my leather chair, the blue light of the screens reflecting in my eyes. It was time. Tiffany stepped out of the lead vehicle like she was stepping onto a red carpet. She was wearing a white cashmere coat that probably cost more than my first car, and she was doing that thing she always did, talking with her hands, expanding her space, demanding attention. She swept her arm toward my house, presenting it to the 10 women climbing out behind her as if she'd laid the foundation herself. Welcome to the sanctuary, I heard her say through the high-gain audio feed. Leave your trauma at the door. I watched her walk up the steps. She didn't look at the keypad. She just punched in the code with a flourish. My birthday. Of course, she'd never bothered to learn a new number. The keypad didn't beep, it didn't click. It flashed a solid, angry red. Tiffany laughed, a high tinkling sound meant to reassure the wealthy women shivering in their designer boots. Technology, she chirped, always needs a second to wake up. She punched it again, harder. She tried a third time, jamming her finger against the button so hard the plastic casing creaked. The silence that fell over the driveway was absolute, and that was when I saw it. The shift. Most people, when locked out, look confused. They check their pockets, they check the address, but Tiffany didn't look confused. She looked terrifying. See, there is a specific kind A rage that lives inside a narcissist when the world refuses to bend to their delusion. It's not just frustration, it's an injury to Tiffany. That locked door wasn't a technical glitch, it was an insult. It was reality, daring to contradict the story. She had sold to these women the story that she was powerful, wealthy, and in control, and when reality attacks a narcissist, they don't retreat, they explode. Her face contorted, the spiritual guru mask dissolved, replaced by something feral. She whirled. On the camera, her eyes locking onto the lens, as if she could see me through the fiber optics open it. She hissed it wasn't a request. She pulled out her phone, my screen lit up. Tiffany calling. I let it ring. I watched her on one screen and my phone. On the other, she called again and again. Behind her, the clients were starting to whisper. One woman checked her watch, another pulled her coat tighter, looking back at the warm idling SUVs. It's just a system reboot, Tiffany shouted to them, her voice cracking. My assistant is incompetent. She forgot the update, then she turned back to the door and kicked it, a solid, violent kick with a designer boot against custom mahogany. Open the damn door, Bella, she screamed, forgetting the audience, forgetting the lie. I know you're doing this. Open it. She didn't look like my sister anymore. She looked like a trapped animal, cornered, desperate. She grabbed the handle and shook it violently, slamming her entire body into the frame, screaming obscenities that bounced across the frozen lake like gunshots. I felt nothing, no fear, no guilt. I took a slow sip of my black coffee and watched her collapse in real time. This wasn't chaos, this was exposure. She was unraveling, thread by thread, in brutal, high definition. Then she stopped. She inhaled sharply, reached for her phone again, but not to call me. She dialed the one number she knew would never ignore her dad. Her voice broke instantly. The victim mask slid back into place. Like muscle memory, she locked me. Ouch, she's ruining everything. I set my coffee down gently. The siege had begun. 10 minutes, that's all it took. Roberts's truck skidded into the driveway, fishtailing across the ice I had prepared. He didn't park, he abandoned its sideways engine. Still running headlights, slicing through the snow, I zoomed in on camera 3. My father didn't look like a mediator. He looked like a man reclaiming property he believed was stolen from him. He jumped out, slipped on the ice, didn't reach for. Kesey reached into the truck bed and pulled out a 3-foot steel crowbar. My heart didn't race, it slowed. The calm of a sniper before the shot. Dad, Tiffany screamed, running toward him, heels sliding. She changed the codes. She locked me out. He didn't hug her, didn't ask if she was okay. He walked past her like she wasn't. Their eyes locked on the front door, like it had personally betrayed him. He stood in front of the custom tempered glass worth more than my first apartment, and didn't knock. He swung, cracked the sound, made my stomach turn white. Fractures spiderwebbed across the panel. The glass held, but it was finished. Open this door, Vila, he roared, voice distorted through the mic, but strong enough to shake snow from the roof. I paid for this house. You don't lock me out of my own property. A lie loud, violent, delivered in front of 10 witnesses. The clients backed away, clutching their designer bags, eyes wide. This wasn't a wellness retreat anymore. It was a crime scene. I didn't call the police. Not yet. That was consequences. I wanted collapse. I opened a new tab on my laptop years earlier when Tiffany launched her brand. Divine Wealth Coaching. I had set up her Facebook page. I was still the admin. I still had the keys. I clicked connect, external source selected, security feed, front door cam. 4K. Then I hit go live. 15,000 followers. Confirmed. I unmuted the public address system. My voice didn't shake. It boomed through the hidden speakers like judgment. Attention, guests. Everything froze. Robert stopped mid-swing. Crowbar raised. Tiffany spun around. Please check your phones. You are live on Facebook. This is not a retreat. This is a burglary in progress. The reaction detonated. 10 phones lit up. 10 gasps. Women staring at their screens, watching a man attack a door with a weapon. Tiffany does not own this home. She has defrauded you. Ask for your refunds now. Chaos erupted. We're live, one woman screamed, covering her face. My husband is a lawyer. Another shouted, turning on Tiffany. You said you owned this place. Tiffany stared at her phone, viewer count climbing. Hundreds watching her brand disintegrate in real time. Her image, her control gone. Turn it off. She screamed at the sky, at the camera. At me, flailing her arms, trying to block the lens. You're ruining me. Robert didn't care about cameras. He cared about dominance. He swung again. The glass exploded across the porch. I'm coming in there, he roared. I took a screenshot. Perfect. Then I dialed 911 when police arrived. Robert dropped the crowbar and transformed instantly into a trembling, concerned father. Tiffany followed, crying softly, claiming confusion. Robert handed over a lease dated January 1st. My signature forged the officer's side. To him, it looked civil. He ordered me to open the door. They thought they had one eye, stepped outside, holding a manila folder, not keys, not surrender. Inside was an employment contract. Tiffany was a live-in employee under Nevada law, housing tied to service. I terminated her immediately. The officer understood. The lease collapsed. The loophole vanished. Robert snapped, lunged at me, then the officer that ended it face down in the snow. Arrested Tiffany, ran, fought, screamed, and was cuffed too. Her live stream still broadcasting as her empire burned when the cruisers disappeared. Down the mountain road, silence returned. I locked the door. My phone buzzed. Tiffany's card cancelled. I blocked their numbers. I stepped onto the balcony and watched fresh snow erase their footprints. You don't choose your family, but you choose who gets a key, and for the first time, it was mine alone.